Hey guys, welcome back. So I know this vlog is kind of like late in the day, but it's fine. I just got off work. It's about 4 o'clock now. I've been at work since 7 o'clock in the morning, and I just sat through the worst Atlanta traffic. I know I talked about earlier in one of my vlogs how I wanted to talk about why I quit Target. For those of you who don't know, I worked for Target for a year. And this is going to be a little story time of why I quit Target. You know, the company and the store that everybody loves. So, I'm going to start from the very beginning. I worked for Target for a year, and I was hired on right around seasonal time. And for those who don't know, seasonal is like the craziest time of the year in retail in the States. Someone just honked at me. Whatever. Okay. So it's like the craziest time in retail in the States because that's when business starts bumping because people come shopping for Thanksgiving. It's when people shop for Halloween. It's when people shop for Christmas. So it's kind of like insane. Also back to school. So it's like back to school, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Christmas. So it's all these holidays within like a 4-month span, and it's just crazy. So I was hired in right around this time, which is September, and I was not properly trained because it was such a busy store and such a busy time to be there, so we didn't have a lot of time to train. So I was not trained properly. I was hired on with the company as a team lead, which is basically like a supervisor. I don't have keys to the store. I have a team, and that's about it. And I am there to do sales planners, fill the store, make sure it looks good, and like customer service. So when I started the company, I started at one store, which was for about an hour away from my house, and everything was great. Unfortunately, like I said, I was not properly trained, so I was basically there in the whole Q4 as like a workhorse. I would come in, do things on my own because we didn't have enough payroll to have a team working that day, so I would do everything and then go home. And that's how it was for about 4 months. But I was technically a leader in the store. One day my store manager comes up to me and is like, hey, I know you drive an hour to work every day. There's an opening in a store closer to you. Would you like to go? And at first I was kind of freaking out because I'm like, why would he want to get rid of me? Because I thought I'm doing pretty well with all things considered. But like, you're trying to ship me out to another store. It's kind of freaking me out. Come to find out, we were way overstaffed in management, which is why we didn't have payroll to have a team for me to get things done and to get training done. So I took the offer to transfer to a store closer to my house, which was literally from an hour drive to the first store to a 10-minute drive to my second store. And I was with the company for about 5 months at this point when I got transferred. When I went to this new store to interview to see if I would like it, I was just told that I was just going to have the same exact position. Just a sales floor team lead, which is great. This new store that I would be going to would be a smaller volume store, so I wouldn't have as much payroll, but it's a slower store, which means I could train faster and get things done and make everything back on track to the way I needed to. So I was like, great, awesome. Went to the interview, everything went well, and then I get a call saying, okay, we'd like you to come start this day. So I started, and then come to find out, going to this new store, I got a promotion, and I didn't even know I was getting a promotion. So now I became a senior team lead. So how it works in the store is you have like The lowest of the low is card attendants. Then you have cashiers. Then you have team members. Then you have like modernized team members, which are like the money-making parts of the store. Then you have team leads, which is what I was at first, when I first started. And then you have senior team leads, and those are people who are upper management. They have keys, they can open and close, and that's what I got promoted to. And then above that, you have ETL, which is like an executive team lead, who are basically essentially like assistant store managers, and then you have the store manager. My particular store that I was going to had 2 ETLs. You had a sales floor ETL and a logistics ETL. And then you had me as a senior team lead, and then another front end senior team lead. So in total, there was 5 people in the whole store who had keys to the store. So 5 people in this multi-million-dollar store who ran the store. So when I got transferred to the store and I started, and they were like, "Oh, you're getting keys," and I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm just a team lead. I'm not a senior. I'm not an ETL." They're like, "No, you're a senior." So I got a promotion without knowing. They never told me how much my raise was going to be. They never told me anything. They just said, "You're a senior team lead now." Okay, great. Cool. I love extra money. And then my direct boss, when I first started, we'll name her Abby. She was the sales floor ETL. And then we have a logistics ETL. Those are the 2 ETLs. The logistics ETL, we'll name him David. Okay? So David and Abby were the assistant managers, essentially. And then you had the store manager, and we'll name her Jill. So Jill, David, Abby, and then me. So when I first came in, Abby was really cool with me. Everything seemed great. She knew that I didn't have all the training that I needed, which was fine at first. And this is when I think things went sour, because she started treating me weird and started talking to me differently than the way she would talk to other people. She would constantly talk down to me, constantly bully me to make me feel bad, make me feel stupid. But then she'd turn around when I'd go to HR and be like, "Hey, I don't like the way she came at me. I don't like the way this is going. I'm trying my best." But then she'd come back to me and she'd be totally nice and totally kind. And that didn't rub me the right way, because she was being two-faced at that point. Because she would talk to me whichever way she wanted, but once she got caught talking to me, she would have to backtrack. And I didn't like that. And it was really getting on my nerves. So that's the big thing. The way that I was treated at that store was horrible. Because I worked my butt off in that store. So much so that I got shingles, and that's stress related. I started getting really, really bad migraines again, stress related. It was just a really big stress for me, because I was just so, treated so bad. And when you go to work and you could honestly see how somebody's treating you and how they're treating someone else, and you could tell that there's a difference, it weighs on your mind. Because then I start second guessing myself, saying, why am I getting treated this way? I know that I'm doing well. I know that my team members and my staff really, really like me, but why is this one person who is above me treating me like crap? Okay, so that's the major thing. And I felt as though she got irritated with me because I didn't know everything that I was supposed to know. But when you get promoted to a next position, you don't know everything right away. You don't. it takes time. You have to be trained. You have to be coached. You have to have like conversations, and that's a part of the job. And she didn't like doing that. It got to a point where I know everything was going good. I know I was doing everything right. But then she would start nitpicking. But she would wait so long to tell me what I'm doing wrong. One night, she was basically, I told you about this. I told you about this. I was like, when did you tell me about this? 6 months ago? Because at this point, it was like almost 6 months of me into the game. Like, you coached me on something back then. We fixed it. And I may have messed up. But then why did you wait 6 months or like months into it to bring it back up? Like, if you had an issue, like a good manager, you would coach on the moment. You wouldn't let it keep going on. Like, why let it happen for so long and then have a conversation with me 3 months after, 4 months after? Like, if you see something, say something. That's a sign of a good leadership, because if that's the only way your staff is going to grow, is if they know they're doing something wrong, you stop it right then and there, coach them, and then they can grow. That never happened with her. Abby was the kind of manager who talked a lot of crap about you behind your back, but never said something to you to your face. So that was number 2. So going into this, I didn't know how much I was getting paid. I didn't know what exactly the job encapsulated, because I did not apply for this job. And then I'm getting treated like crap for trying my best and working with what I have. And then I started to notice that I was doing all of the work. I was doing all of the sales planners. I was doing all of the paperwork. I was doing everything. And when she was at work, she would just sit on her phone in the office texting David. And I'm not the only one who noticed this, because I had other team members come up to me, hey, why is Abby doing this? Why don't we ever see Abby? Why are you the only one who's ever out on the floor? Why is Abby getting away with things that you're not getting away with? And I never bring it to their attention. They bring it to my attention. So I tell them, you should go to HR. You should go to the store manager. But they can't, because the store manager was so buddy-buddy with David and Abby that the store manager would immediately tell David and Abby what sales associates were talking about them and had issues with them. And then those sales associates would be reprimanded. It's like there's no growth. Like, sales associates are noticing something wrong. They're asking questions. They want to know how to fix it. They want to bring it to attention. So they go to upper management and try to fix it, but then they get in trouble for stepping out and talking about it. And that happened multiple times. And it was just annoying. Like, it's like, you can't say anything. You're just going to allow this sink to ship. And if you say something, you're going to get decapitated. Like, where does that happen? Obviously at the Target that I moved to. And then I also started noticing that David and Abby were very, very, very buddy-buddy. To the point that they would be hanging out outside of work. They would be texting each other. They would be doing this. They'd be doing that. Which is fine, because they're on the same level. They're both on that same management tier. They're supposed to be a support system. But not to the point that they were. Because I had a sales associate, one of my team members, walk into the back room and walk in on them basically having sex. And you can date whatever, but they were both in committed relationships. David is married. Abby has a long-term partner. And then the sales associate. So the sales associate walks back there, walks into them. They're like doing whatever, and then immediately walks out. They freak out and they start hounding her, trying to force her out. A week later, she gets fired for something that's so minuscule, and they validated it because it was under her. She was under her 90 days. But best believe, she found out. She tried to go to people, but she can't go to people because she knows how it is. So she's telling other team members, and slowly but surely, every team member who knew about it got let go. And there's been multiple investigations on these two to when they were at previous stores together. Like, they were at a previous store before they got transferred to the store that I was at. And they had an investigation, and then one of them had to be transferred out. And then about a year later, the other one got transferred to the same store, and it all started happening again. So that's just messy to me. Like, if you want to have sex, have sex. Don't do it at work. Make sure that no one knows at work. And if they do know at work, you need to take responsibility for it, not fire somebody for walking in on you. That's your fault, not theirs. So they were really good at pushing people out for stupid reasons. They pushed an HR manager out because the HR manager contacted corporate HR about their investigation. She said, I think these two are doing it, and they deflected and said, no, it's not us. It's the HR manager and someone else. HR manager was like, what? No. I'm the one who reported this. It has nothing to do with me. So the HR manager was forced out, and so she had to quit, or she was going to get fired for allegations. They pushed out another supervisor. Anybody that they don't like or that they didn't like, they pushed out or made quit. And that's what they were doing to me because I didn't stand for their bullshit. I didn't kiss their ass. Because at the end of the day, I am your sales associate. Like, I work for you, but you can't talk to me the way you want to talk to me. You can't treat me the way you want to treat me. I'm not going to take it. So it was just very toxic to me because I noticed how everybody was getting treated. I noticed how all this stuff was going down and nothing was being done. And I couldn't tell anybody because I know that if I told somebody, it would come back on to me for spreading rumors when I know they were true. It's not a rumor if someone walked in on you. Like, it's not. Like, it's not a rumor if multiple sales associates and multiple managers from other stores all knew about your little thing that you had going on. But then if anybody threatened that for you, you tried to get rid of them. Like, you see what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make for a good situation. So, it was just, it got to the point where she was nitpicking me, and she was being really rude and really catty, and Abby would say things behind my back, but then they would come back to me, and I'd confront her about it, and she'd be like, oh, I was just kidding, yeah, stop stuttering, tell me how you really feel so we can fix the situation. The final straw was, at this point, I was at the store for 6 months. The store manager pulls me in her office, and she's like, from now on, we're going to have Abby close with you on Monday nights because your closing is not good. Okay, why wait 6 months to say this? If you had a problem with my closing, you should have said something right away. Like, you're just going to allow 6 months of bad closing? No, I don't think so. There's something else going on underneath this. You're just trying to find ways to push me out. So the next day, I go up to Abby, to her face, show me what I'm doing wrong. Show me what's bad about my closing. I need you to tell me everything that I'm doing wrong, because why is it taking so long for you guys just to tell me these things? So then we walk around the store. Mind you, I closed the night before. And it's still early in the morning, so not a lot of guests have came in and ruined the store. I'm like, show me. Tell me. What did I do wrong? And she starts trying to find things. Like, she knew I was on to her. And so she's like, this is wrong. What is it? The clothes aren't in size order. I'm sorry, but I leave the store 100% straight. I leave no more go backs, no strays. Everything is put up. The store looks really, really good. And you want to talk to me about this random pair of pants that's not in size order? I'm sorry, but during my shift as a manager, I'm walking the whole time. I'm making sure that everybody is doing what they need to do and every guest is being taken care of. I don't sit in the back office until an hour before we close and finally come out and start panicking and make everybody stressed out and hate their job. I'm not going to do that. So why are you going to do that? I don't know what's going on. I just pulled onto my street and the road is blocked. Okay, well, I left no strays, no go backs, no trash. The store always looked good. And if it wasn't good, I would leave a detailed reasoning why it wasn't good. And so I basically looked at her after she told me these little things that I was doing wrong. And I said, that's bull crap. That's 100% bull crap. Because you leave the store with 7-8 carts of go backs every night, Abby. And you expect, and I know for a fact that the store, when I walk in after you close, nothing is perfect. The store looks like it hasn't been touched because you're in the back on your phone the whole time doing whatever you think is managerial while I'm actually out being on the floor being a manager on my shifts. So I started looking for another job and I found one. And as I was finding one, I was really wondering, like, I knew I was getting money every week. I knew I was getting paid, so the pay wasn't an issue for me. So I wasn't worried about my pay increase at that point. Until finally, I went into the system and I looked at how much I was getting paid, which is naive on my part. But I looked at it and I was like, okay, there's obviously a substantial pay raise that I got from coming to this new store, but that doesn't seem right to me. I want to ask my HR about it. So I went and I talked to my HR, and my HR was like, that's not right. That is not right at all. They messed up somehow. They're paying you more than what you should be getting paid. Let me see what's going on. So she goes and talks to corporate, and then corporate is like, oh, they messed up when they put your pay information in the system. Okay, so they messed up, not me. I don't key in my own pay. They key in my pay. And then come to find out, they're like, oh, you're going to have to pay back about $6,000 because of their mistake. I'm going to have to pay back the money that you guys messed up on? You guys messed up, not me. Because I know how it works. If a bank accidentally deposits $300 when you mean to deposit $30, it's in your account. It's yours now. Why? It should be the same for a company. So I was like, you know what? I'm done. I got the new job. I'm not even going to do it 2 weeks. I'm going to put my information in, put my little 2 weeks and my key on the HR desk, and I'm going to go home. And that's exactly what I did. And the store manager, it was blindsided. Like, everybody was blindsided. Nobody knew what to do because it was right before Abby went on vacation. So they were already short-staffed because they pushed out a couple managers. So we were short-staffed on managers again, which is why I got transferred to that store, because they were short-staffed, because Abby and David and Jill are horrible managers and don't like anybody but themselves. So I was like, you know what? They want to screw me over. I'm going to screw them over too. So I put my 2 weeks in. I put my key and my resignation letter, and I walked out. Next thing I know, the next day, the store manager calls me. She's like, is there any way we could rectify this? How can we fix the situation? You can't. I'm done. I don't want to work for a company that doesn't value me, that sees me as a number, and doesn't have my back. Yes, Abby may be above me, but if I have issues, I should have somebody who I can go to and talk to. Calling the HR line does nothing with that company because they don't do anything about that. They just say, oh, we're going to investigate it. You never investigated it. Because if you investigated it, she would have been fired years ago when she first got caught having sex with the other manager. So, do I recommend working for Target? Great. Perfect. Do it if you're a seasonal employee. Do I recommend it for management? No. Unless you know for a fact that that store is going to be a good company for you. Because all the other managers that I've talked to who decided to leave said that that was the best decision they've ever made. And this is the best decision I've ever made. I have my life back. I have stress-free days. Like, I'm not having as many migraines. I'm not going back to my anxiety. I feel worth in my life. Like, it still gets me really, really mad, and that's why I'm getting worked up about it, because of how they treated me and how they think they can get away with things. But you know what? Karma is going to come back to bite them in the ass. And there you go. There's nothing I can say more about that. So, I'm home now. It took me all of 30 minutes to say my piece. So, I'm going to get out the car and unwind. So, have a good day. Have a good day. Be you. And until next time, peace.